Hey guys, welcome to Girls Frontline 2. So it's about time that we discuss Qiuhua's kit. How many dupes do we need before she arrives on July 24th? That is roughly around a week and a half. So we have more than enough time to discuss her kit. And we'll be starting with, again, her being a vanguard and the movement that she has. This is actually very, very crucial for burn, as right now when I was using a burn team in Gunsmoke, literally they were slow. You need somebody in the burn team that can complete them, that can give them mobility, that can do objectives for the whole team. And that is Qiuhua. She's going to be shopping around and doing some objectives while the others are going to hold the fort. So with that said, let's take a look at her effects. So extra command, she has Scorch Mark, which is actually the main skill, I think, of her kit. At the end of the action, the caster deals burn damage equivalent to 7% attack to the holder, which is the enemy. For each additional stack, increases damage multiplier by 7%. So 7%, maximum number of stacks is going to be 12. The number of stacks are then resetted when the holder receives burn damage from enemies. Increase the number of stack by 1. So the stacks can be up to 12, is removed upon the caster's death. It's considered a burn type debuff and cannot be dispelled. So her kit's important concept is the Scorch Mark. Next, she has Overburn as well. She has Y support, similar to Sharkry's kit. Phase Boost 2, increased damage dealt by element attacks by 20%. Stability Assault 2, which increases the taking of stability damage by 2. And she has Quick Barrier as well. So let's take a look at all of her kit here and skills. So she has Trailblazer as her basic attack. It's a regular one. It's a physical damage equivalent to 80% of attack. Then she has Searing Sizzle, which is an active targeted skill. Selects an enemy target within 6 tiles and deals burn damage equivalent to 120% attack to it. If the distance between Qiuhua and the target is less than 4 tiles, increases damage by 5% and stability damage by 1 point. So if you're up close and personal, this deals more damage and deals more stability stability point damage. And this is going to be upgraded at Vertebrae 5. So at Vertebrae 5, gain 6 tiles of additional movement. If target has Scorch Marks, increase damage dealt by 30%. So we'll go to the copies later. I'm just seeing here the improvement in terms of Vertebrae for the individual skills. So next skill is going to be Searing Leap. This is an active targeted skill. Selects a tile within 6 tile radius of self and lands on the selected tile, dealing burn damage equivalent to 30% of the attack to the nearest enemy target within a 6 tile radius. After attacking, gains extra command, reduces the ultimate turn by 1. So this one will be upgraded at Vertebrae 4. Increase damage multiplier by 5. If a target has Scorch Mark, deals an additional instance of fixed damage equivalent to 50% of attack. After attacking, gains Phase Boost and stability damage for 1 turn. So this is where it takes effect, the effects that we were able to talk a while back. So for her ultimate, Boil and Reduce Cooking. Ultimate AoE and debuff. Selects a tile within a 6 tile radius of self, dealing AoE burn damage equivalent to 90% attack and applying Scorch Mark to all enemies within 3 tiles radius of the specified tile. This skill consumes all Confectance Index. For each point of Confectance Index consumed, increased damage multiplier by 5%. So this is, I think, one of her bread and butter skills, especially for her ultimate. So this one is going to be Vertebrae 1. So take note that the first upgrade that you have with her is going to reduce cooldown by 1 of the ultimate skill. When dealing damage, immediately triggers the effects of Scorch Mark that are triggered at the end of the holder's action once. So this is the first step. And the second vertebrae that will benefit the ultimate is Vertebrae 6. If this skill hits one target, increases damage dealt by 15%. Enhance the effects of Scorch Mark. Increase damage dealt per stack to 10% of the caster's attack and increase the number of stacks gained when receiving burn damage to 2. That is it for the ultimate. Let's go to the passive. So Kitchen's God Authority. When there are no allies within a 2-tile radius of self, increase burn damage dealt by 5%. If overburn is applied on an enemy with attack range, undergoes the instance of Y support, dealing burn damage and equivalent to 60% attack and stability damage, and increase convectance in the index increase by 1 point. This effect cannot be activated once per turn, and increases crit rate by 30 when dealing burn damage towards targets with Scorch Mark. So the mechanics of the kit is really the Scorch Mark, and once you deal more damage to it, possibly a increased crit rate, then more damage will be dealt to those who have Scorch Marks. So interesting kit. And Vertebrae 2 is going to improve this with Y support, can be activated 2 times already per turn. Increased burn damage dealt by 5% to 15%. Removes the condition required to activate this effect. When dealing damage, if crit rate is above 100%, each 1% additional crit rate is converted to 1% crit damage. So if you go above 100%, so let's say for example you are crit rate 120%, the 20 will directly go to your crit damage. So this is insane. This boosts her kit damage by a lot. Okay, and Vertebrae 3, Scorch Mark no longer has maximum stack limit, which is another crazy effect. It complements her kit really from Vertebrae 1, 2, and up to 3. New effect is added when dealing burn damage towards targets with Scorch Mark. If the number of stacks of Scorch Mark is more than 10, for each additional stack, increases attack by 1%. Again, another overflow of an effect. So, with that said right now, how many do you need as dupes? Initial stopping point, if you're free to play, is definitely going to be at V0. Decent damage for her, and you can still play her. She can still enjoy the benefits of the burn team. But if you take her from V0 to her next stopover, which is going to be V2, this one is gonna make her damage crazy enough that you would really want to be at V2. So Y support times 2, burn damage from 5 to 15%. Then in excess of 100% crit rate, it goes to your crit damage. What? That is crazy. If you are in the mood for another upgrade, probably your next stop, but I don't highly recommend that you stop at 3 if you're going beyond 2. So 0, 2, kind of stopping, and 2, if you want, go a step forward with upgrade 3, which is V3. Scorch Mark no longer has a stack limit. Take note. So the stacks are going to stack and stack. New effect is added when dealing burn damage towards targets with Scorch Marks. If the number of stacks of Scorch Mark is more than 10, for each additional stack, increases attack by 1%. This is going to complement every other skill or every other level of Vertebrae that she is going through. So from 3 or from 2, the best upgrade will be all the way up to V6. So V0, V2, probably V3, maybe not. If you're going to go to V3, might as well go to V6. So for V6, boil and reduce. If this skill hits one target, increase damage dealt by 5%. So if it's a boss, enhance the effects of Scorch Mark, increase the damage dealt per stack to 10% from 7% of the caster's attack, and increase the number of stack gained when receiving burn damage to 2. So this is going to be making her so good. So 0, V2, could be V3, but I prefer you take her all the way to V6 after V2. So that is it. Those are the things that you should know about in her kit. We will go to the weapon in a while. So for a common key, crit, it's going to be crit rate. When dealing burn damage outside one's turn, increased damage dealt by 10%. So kind of, you know, allowable for QJ, but I think she can use it herself. So if we go to the recommended keys, fixed key 1, the start of the battle increases Confectance Index by 3. So these are recommended ones. You should equip these. Before using an active attack, applies overburn to the target for 1 turn. Then the alternatives, depending on your situation. For bossing, at the start of the turn, applies Scorch Mark to the enemy with the highest HP. This has a cooldown 2 turns. So this is for a boss. For general use, she doesn't apply burn tiles, but she should always be paired with a burn team, which includes Vector, so becomes immune to all debuffs inflicted by burn type tile and all burn type debuffs. At the end of the action, if Qiuhua is on a burn type tile, restores 2 stability and HP equivalent to 10 max HP. So she has self-heal and self-regeneration of stability points. Then the last one, if you need a dispel, obviously we do have needs in terms of going for a boss. Before undergoing Y support, dispels 1 buff from the target, which is pretty much very useful depending on what are you going to do. So for the last recommendation is going to be the gun. If you're really free to play, I would suggest Heartseeker, although the Doritos are going to be harder to find once the shop adds more currency to it. But the Doritos, not the Doritos, but Heartseeker is definitely the best one to get for free to play. If you are not free to play, I would suggest you getting straight to Chasing Light, because this gun is gonna give her additional burn damage multipliers for both, actually 2 instances here. Increased burn damage dealt by 10% for 1 copy. For each instance of burn damage dealt, increased burn damage dealt by 2%. So this is going to be a lot of burn damage that she will take advantage of. Okay, so that said, what do you think, guys? Will you be pulling for Qiuhua number 1? How many copies will you be pulling? Are you excited for her to complete your burn team? And what are your reasons for not pulling for her? Please comment down in the comment section. What do you think? Thank you guys for staying this far. Take care. Stay safe. This is the Warden, and I'm out of here.